Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Confidence Culture Conversations. Hello, Coach Kirubai, how are you?
I'm doing well as usual. I like the way you always ask me, how are you doing? And how are you doing, Elizabeth?
Do you know what? I'm good. Thank you. It's interesting because I feel like the year has gone really fast and we are now like people are talking about Christmas already. Like, wow,
Right.
the year is
Indeed,
almost over.
indeed. And this year has really gone by so fast, and it has been an eventful year. But let's keep all those things to the end of the year where we regroup after our break. But today is, a new day. And what did you do for the weekend? I know you're away in Bristol today, but what did you do? I'm sure you had an exciting weekend.
Um, to the contrary, it was a quiet weekend.
Really?
It was a quiet weekend because we didn't have Janaya, so, we just yeah, we spent most of Saturday at home, and then we went and caught a movie, which we rarely do, so that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Movies.
Sunday was church.
Movie with a Coke and then some popcorn.
Something like that, yeah.
Right, it's time well spent with your spouse.
Absolutely.
It's connecting and connecting with in a different aspect of connection because the little one is not around.
Mhm. How
Yeah,
was your weekend?
yeah. My weekend was eventful. We had to go for my brother-in-law's mom's 90th birthday in Germany. I know some of you who are watching might have seen my post on Facebook. And but you know what really warmed my heart was my brother-in-law invited us, and I don't understand a word of German, and they don't speak, the his family, they don't really speak English. And my husband, of course, he understands, but he also speaks here and there, being of Austrian origin.
Mhm.
So as one would say, we went for a party, and the birthday girl was so shocked to see both myself
Oh,
and
nice.
Robert. Yeah, and she started tearing, and that was really very heartwarming. And the whole jing bang of her family, her children, all was really shocked that we took time to go to Germany.
Oh.
And that was really special. It was really special. And we had good company, even though we some most of them didn't speak English, and good food, and just being there, and being thankful for her life. She has gone through life resiliently. So it was nice to just absorb the ambience and just being there. It was a quick visit Friday. We left on Friday and we came back yesterday.
Mhm.
And my sister and my brother-in-law were the perfect hostess to the mostest, and we had a good time. Quiet, quiet in the sense they live in a village, so it was not rush, rush, rush. So it was quiet, and we came back today. So I'm thankful that we got to meet some of the family that we have never met in our lives. Even though my sister is married like 17 years now.
Oh, wow. No, but that's good. It's always great to meet family, and it's interesting that you say, you most of them just spoke German, and like it's funny how yes, we might not all speak the same languages, but we can still come together for a common
Right.
purpose and have a good
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Have a good time. Lots of good German food. Lots of they have the German drinks, and the cocktails and whatever good cake. So I feel very full still. But the secret is,
That's
Robert,
good. It was a trip worth making, so that's really good to hear.
my husband really enjoyed it because he loves his German food. So it was good. And you are frozen, my dear. Okay, there.
The internet seems to be playing up, maybe because there's so many devices connected to it.
Okay. Yeah. So speaking about today, man, Elizabeth.
So yeah, we are talking about success, right? It's everyone's looking for success. Everyone wants to be successful.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm,
I think one of the questions sometimes you have to ask is what is success? What does success look like? Is success me going to bed knowing I've accomplished my goals for the day, my tasks for the day, or is
mm-hmm,
success something that's far off 10 years from today or 5 years from today, 20 years from today? Like
mm-hmm,
what is this thing? Is it something tangible?
mm-hmm.
I speak in school sometimes, and that's one of the things we talk about is success. And a lot of the kids will tell you their idea of success is to have a lot of money. And I'm always like, yes, money gives you options, but does money determine success? I don't think so. So, Kirubai, do you want to kickstart us?
Yeah. So as the title goes, that success is not an end goal, but is a growing reality. It is a journey that we all embark on, and success is each of us um, deem success differently. What might what might be success for you might not be success for me.
Mm,
So success can be in like, for instance, my journey to Germany. To me, it is a successful journey, but most of all, the success was celebrating someone else's success. 90 years of living a life of fulfillment brought success to her, and I'm partaking of the success. So, the question to the audience: what does success mean to you? And success can mean different things in different periods of our lives. And it's definitely a journey, I would say. We never stop achieving points of success in our lives till we rest our heads. That means till the Lord returns or till we disappear permanently.
so what you're effectively saying is that every day is an opportunity for success.
So every day, uh, what can might think for you is a failure could be turned into a success.
Hmm.
Always thinking, A, nothing is a failure, because the first point I'm going to speak about is the challenges that we face today could be a stepping stone for our success tomorrow. So I have failed many a times in my life, still fail, but because of what I have gone through, the failures, I have turned it around to being a successful coaching business. My testing has become my testimony.
Hmm.
So your failures can be turned into success. For those who feel that you have failed many times and you have not had an ounce of success in your childhood, in your marriage, in your career, in your current situation, think differently.
Hmm.
Always think, put on your thinking cap and think differently. What your failures could be to make a successful footstone or footpath for your success, I would say. So, Elizabeth, what does success mean for you?
Why are you asking me the big question?
You being a coach, you mean you're always teaching others about success, how
Hmm.
to embrace success in the little things that we do. And talking about it, last week we didn't meet, but something that was we celebrated someone else's success last week. Was it 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, two Saturdays ago. And that was wonderful. Show up and shine. We met all the women and celebrated Samantha's success.
Mhm.
So, would you like to share a little bit about it?
Um, that in itself, the day that we gathered together, that was success, I think, for all of us.
Mhm,
Everyone who's been part of the Shop and Shine community, because we
mhm,
had never met face to face, and so to see that, I think it was Maria who sort of referred to, like, these were the five people that first started it. When I
mhm,
started, the five people that signed up, and to see everyone is still, they might not be showing up as much as they would like to, but they're showing up more than they did before they signed up. And
mhm,
so that is success.
mhm,
So for me, I would say success is achieving goals. So success is, it's not necessarily about like the results per se, but success is progress. Success is, I'm not where I was yesterday. And when we look at success as one big thing, sometimes we don't get to celebrate along the way because we've not yet achieved the big thing. But success could be celebrated in milestones. I woke up today. What have I done? Have I achieved some things? Am I a step closer? Whether it's one step, five steps, two steps, am I a step closer to my monthly goal, my weekly goal, my goal for the year? Like, am I a step closer? And if I am, there's a level of success. I'm making progress. And I think when we talk about success, there's no one definition for it. Um, for me, success is about achieving God's plan for my life, right? It's about being in alignment with what God has planned for me, and so that's a big part of how I define success. Hi Tunji, thanks for joining us this evening. Um,
hello, hello.
so my faith plays a big part in how I define success. And I think sometimes our environment will determine how we define success. The stages we're at in life might determine how we define success. And so it's really being conscious that success is my idea of success. It's not somebody else's idea, because that means I'm trying to walk their walk. It's my idea of success. It's not society's idea of success. It's my idea of success. So I cannot allow society to come into my house and tell me tell me like my family setting or my home, my marriage is not successful. I have to define what success looks like. So I hope that is kind of making sense somewhere somehow.
Yeah, thank you. Because I think the next statement that I'm going to say is, or next point of discussion that I'm going to share is, I like the way success that is meant to be for me and how I perceive success. So, success is not comparison, you are saying.
Mm,
You're not comparing with the Joneses. Their measuring stick might be completely different from your measuring stick.
that's it.
So, yeah, so coming to to people who, for them, success could be money. So for some people, success could be having the right connection. For
Mm,
some people, success is having a beautiful family, all intact. Somebody could have success meaning they have perfect in health.
mm,
So all that is success. All that is success measured individually for each and every person. So many people, they get depressed, they get so bogged, so worried, so despondent because they compare with
mm,
someone else. And I want to plug this in with social media. We see, oh, that person is so successful. Where am I in this journey?
mm,
So the journey and the milestone and the measuring stick is what you put it out to be. So don't compare. Don't kill yourself because somebody else is doing well, because you are running your race at your pace. But the moral of the story is you have to run and take that journey. Don't sit still and say, oh, poor me, poor me. Don't sing that song. Oh, poor me, oh, poor me. Does that make sense, Elizabeth?
It makes sense because when we compare ourselves and compare our journeys to success, it can lead to frustration, it can lead to depression, it can lead to
Mm,
anxiety, it can lead to all manner of mental health complications, if I put it that way. It can lead to broken relationships, it can lead to so many different things. And,
mhm,
like you said, Kirubai, social media plays a huge part. And it's interesting because when we read books, we watch videos all around us, we are seeing people's idea of success. And this is where like confidence in yourself like really matters,
mhm.
because when you're confident in yourself or confident in who you are, it's easier for you to define what success looks like for you. Because success for me is me being the best version of me. It's me achieving me. It's not me faking it till I make it to be like somebody else. It's me being authentic. It's me being real. It's me, like, you can only go so far pretending to be somebody else. You don't achieve the fullest of your potential. So when we talk about success, like if we compare to others, which in general, life forces us to compare to others because of competition, you know, in different circles. Look at athletics, for example. Someone might say they're not successful because they've never achieved a gold, they've never achieved a silver. But actually, have you made it to the Olympics? Or, are you where you are last week? And if you're not, then there's an element of success there that's worth celebrating because you've made some progress. So society will define it. But as individuals, we have to define success for ourselves.
Circling back to social media, one of the statistics that they have derived in this time and age is because of social media, people portray the success. There is a very high rate of young people looking at it and and committing suicide and killing themselves.
Mm,
Going into depression is one of them. And I like what you said about your definition of how you see success, and this envy that comes
mm,
because of envy that drives you sometimes to doing the wrong things in life and taking your life, and it's not very it's not nice, it's ugly. And don't use social media to to gauge success, because sometimes social media can be unreal.
mm,
Because I don't like this statement, fake it till you make it, because a lot of people use it. A lot of people use it. So I mean, my own story that I want to share. After, I don't know, I did share this in one of the episodes. After I came back from Malaysia in July, everything was in a lull. And then I saw everyone posting and bragging about what happened, and da da da. They were doing things. They had coaching clients, and they had clients here. They had workshops there. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what happened to me? I was going into a pity party, and the actually literally I heard the Lord say, it's time for you to step aside and check your heart.
mm,
Because I talk about body, mind, and spirit. If my spirit is not in the right place, how am I going to help other people? Like, for instance, talking about success is a journey. And I had to repent because I was comparing myself. Oh, I'm poor me. I don't have any clients. I don't have anyone to speak to. I'm not helping anyone. I'm wasting my time. I'm not successful. But the Lord says, check your heart. And He pinned me down, and I had to check my heart, Elizabeth. So, and then I came out successfully knowing in His time He will make all things beautiful for me. And that can seep into marriage, relationships, envy building up. Oh, envy is envy is a dirty, dirty, dirty um, uh, attitude that anyone carries because it's something that you need to check every day. Where are these negative feelings coming from? Because
Mm.
it will never help you to be successful. It always will pull you down.
I think one of the things that can impact the way we see success, and I think it's one of the things that can be very detrimental, is we look at materialistic things.
Mm.
So because we are seeing materialistic things, we think these materialistic things are what determines success. We see somebody has a nice car, we think they're successful. We
That's
see
right.
somebody is wearing designer clothes, we think they're successful. We see all
Mhm.
these things and we think, oh, they must be successful. But
Mm.
you don't know what is hidden behind all of that.
Yes.
Sometimes you might see a husband and wife and you think, oh, they look happy. I wish my marriage was like theirs.
Mm.
They look like they're having a successful marriage, but you don't know the fights that might be going on behind the scenes. You don't know
Exactly.
the issues they might have to be dealing with. And this is why
Mhm.
it's so important to have your definition of success, but also to be confident in yourself.
Mm.
I think those two will help a great deal. When I have my definition of success, I am not hindered but by what is going on in other people's lanes. I'm not distracted by what is going on in other circles. I am focusing on what is on my vision board, right? Not what is on somebody else's vision board. It's what am I trying to achieve? What is Elizabeth Olujimi trying to achieve? So I can, when I started off as a coach, and this probably links into what you were saying, Kirubai. When I started off as a coach, I looked online and I'm like, there's so many coaches out there. There's so many people doing so many things. And it's like, you have to find where you fit. And this is probably for anyone who is, whether you're starting up as an entrepreneur or you're an entrepreneur yourself or you're looking to get into that entrepreneur space. You have to find where you fit, and you have to find it in such a way that you don't lose yourself trying to find where you fit. You don't try to be like others. You don't try to copy others. You don't try to imitate to the point that you lose yourself. So this is why you have to be confident in yourself. You have to be confident in the vision you're working with. You have to be confident in what it is you are trying to build. Because what you are building is not what someone else is building. It's different. Like I need to understand that my assignment is different. And when I understand that, I know that success is going to look different for both of us because our assignments are different. I'm giving, let me give a typical example. Churches, right? A lot of times you look at a church and it's small in number, and someone might say that church is not being successful, but it's not measured by numbers. It's not measured by numbers. If you have 10 people who are committed to deep relationship with Christ, 10 people who are committed to, like, they're walking and talking Jesus, and you have 1,000 people who are coming to church for show, well, guess what? Where is success? If you're trying to look at numbers, then you might say the other church is successful, but actually effectiveness. Who is being more effective? So we have to determine success based on our unique our unique
Calling,
context.
calling.
Yeah, your unique calling, your the context that you're in. Like, I cannot compare here to someone who might be in another country somewhere, you know, like there's a lot of talk at the moment about persecution in northern Nigeria, persecution against
Oh my
Christians in
God.
northern Nigeria. And it's heartbreaking to see and to hear, but you cannot come and compare like a church in Nigeria in church in northern Nigeria to a church like in the UK in London, and try to make those comparisons to determine success. So I'm using those examples because it's the examples that come easily to me. But what I'm really saying is success has to be unique to you. Success has to be unique to you, your context, your environment, the vision you're working with. What is the blueprint that you are
Mm.
trying to build? Yeah. If you're an architect, you have a scope of a building, you say this is what we are trying to create. Someone else has a different one. As we are building, I'm not building based on theirs, I'm building based on mine. So it's so important for us to determine what is success for me. When we talk about marriage, people in marriages want to achieve different things. For some, success in marriage is I want to have kids. Once you have kids, boom, the marriage is finished, right? Because you say you want to have kids. Let's be real. For some, a successful marriage is we're always spending time together, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're going places together. But marriage goes beyond that. So you have to determine what success looks like for you from your lens, your perspective, your unique setting, like you said, your calling that's unique to you. That is so important.
So going back to the small church, you know, just to refer to it, um, I came from a very small church in Malaysia. Small meaning 120, considerably small. We were a family church.
That's not small here in London. That's not small.
Yeah,
There's some churches that have 10 people.
that's that in Malaysian standards, 120, it's quite small. Okay, but we were always like, oh, how many people in your church? And people kind of look down on us. No, 120 was the time where we were in our height of what God was calling us to be. But we started off not even having 10, we had five, six. Okay. But why I'm sharing this story is, but the church was a sending church. We came, we were trained, and the pastor said, go out and do what God has called you to do. And I will support you in prayer. If there needs to be financially, we will plant. It was a church that planted other people's ministries. It was a sending church. So that was the success of the church. It was a sending church. These days, a lot of churches don't send you out. They want to keep you in the church. They want to they keep you tied down to the church because of tithes and offerings, because they want your what is that, your expertise or whatever. So, and I was very proud of being in that sending church because the church had a calling and they answered that calling. They
Mm.
came, they got trained, and they were sent out. So that is success for the pastor and the leadership there.
No, you're right, because this is why, like, what's the blueprint? What is the
Yeah.
blueprint that you're trying to recreate?
Mm.
The thing about numbers, it's one that probably will constantly be spoken about in church history. But if you go back to the book of Acts,
Mm.
how many people did it take to start the church?
Mhm.
The body of Christ, right? It
True.
it was, Jesus had his disciples and then it grew. But that's where it started,
Mm.
and we read about like house churches and how they start, and it's it's a different environment in terms of you have different things impacting. There's different settings, and all those settings are impacting on numbers, are impacting on, what maybe people are able to do. And so success will look different because of the context that you're in, because of the environment that you're in. Success will look different because, how many people do you have serving on your teams? If you have only 5 people and yet you're able to carry out a service and it goes smoothly, amazing. If you have 100 people and yet carrying out a service is a real struggle because everyone's stepping on everyone's feet, everyone's toes, and they're complaining, and there's so much offense here and there. What's going on? So success is not about looking at other people's lens. It's not about comparison. Success is really about, what does it look like for you to get one step closer to what you're trying to achieve, to the blueprint, to alignment, to purpose? What does that look like for you?
What if you don't know all this? Blueprint, your purpose, your destiny. I mean, a lot of people are confused. A lot of people are just meandering, wanting to be someone else.
The reality is that in life we're all working towards something, directly or indirectly. And what you need to wake up to is wake up to being intentional. Being intentional with, what am I in this rat race for? What is my aim? Because sometimes we go through life just doing the routine, right? We go through life saying, oh, I get to this age, I'm supposed to go to university. I get to this age, I'm supposed to get married. I get to this age, I'm supposed to graduate. I'm supposed to, and we're just ticking a box. We're ticking a box. But to what end? To what end? One of the things that always strikes me is when you go to, or when someone passes away, or when you go to a funeral, and this is coming to bringing in legacy. When we talk about success, I think, for me, when I look at success is about building legacy. Success is, I might be gone today, but my legacy is still speaking. Because how successful am I if I die today and I'm forgotten by the end of today? Like, no, that is not my story. It shall not be. But when you can leave a legacy, I think that's an element of success. And we're talking a good legacy, not the kind of legacy that people frown on, but a good legacy.
What will people talk to me about when I leave the room? Huh? Whether she was confident, whether she was successful in whatever God has called her to do, or whatever, whatever, it's all about what people will think. Or even as you are laid to rest, there's all this eulogy that they speak after you go to the Lord. And then they will say, oh, the person did this and the person did that, and the person was impacting society and everything. But you know what, Elizabeth, I always said, if you want to praise someone to success, tell it to them when they are alive. And being how you touched people's lives. It's about purpose. You talked about purpose driven living, and how successful. Another way of being successful is how you are constantly self motivating,
Mm,
self not motivating, self motivating yourself all the time is also being successful, because um, discouragement all can creep in. So one of the ways I motivate myself is listening to other motivational talk, and also getting a mentor for myself, and someone I can go to and say, hey, I'm going through this, I'm struggling, can you help me? And this is the point where I want to plug in and say, to being constantly encouraged and to be successful is to also get a coach for yourself.
Mm.
Coaching is become a big thing these days, no, right, Elizabeth?
It is, it is. It's a big thing and everyone wants to be a coach.
Yeah, but it's easy. It's easy to be a coach if you have gone through that pathway. So that's why I started off this session with saying all the testing that you go through, you can be a testimony and help someone else.
Mm.
You might not put a price to your sharing, but Elizabeth and I have to put a price to our coaching because we are qualified coaches, and we this is our livelihood. So when it comes to this, we put a price to our coaching. It's not because it's you have to add value. That's what I'm saying, adding value.
Mm.
So success is part of pouring your life into someone else.
I like that, pouring your life into somebody else, and you could bring into that leadership. They say, leadership is influence, right? So
Yes.
if you're able to even just convince one person to follow you, that is success in itself, because you're influencing somebody. So success, when we look at success, like there's a definition of success that the world will give you. There's a definition of success that social media will give you. There's a definition of success that your culture will give you. There's a
Mm,
definition of success that your environment will give you. There's a definition of success everywhere you look. But you need to be personally grounded. You need to be, Kirubai, you asked me a question earlier on about, like, what if somebody doesn't know these things, doesn't know purpose, doesn't know, what is the blueprint that they're building on. Success will look different for all of us, but you have to find out what success means for you. Otherwise, you're going to keep working on someone else's blueprint. I remember, like, even just being in school sometimes, and one of the things I didn't like in school is when they put us in different classes based on our abilities. I find that very
streamlining.
limiting.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I find it very limiting. And I remember one time having a conversation with somebody, and this was, I think, when we're coming to do our GCSEs. And I think I was in the high, I liked maths, so I was in the higher set for maths. And this person was, I think, in like the second or the third set. And so one of the things that was going to happen was, because they're in the third set, they were going to do foundation maths. So they can only achieve so much. Their success has been capped based on the perceived ability.
Mm-hmm.
And so my idea of success could be aim as high as possible, get the A stars. But their idea of success is, I just want to get a C and I'm comfortable. That's success for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the issue of I need to determine what success looks like for me is important, because you can end up hanging out with a crowd that is working for a C, and you're working for an A, but you're hanging out with this crowd and they will bring you down. So that's why your environment is so important. And the people you have in your environment, the things you have in your environment are also important. So this is where, like Kirubai, the work that you do, where you start from the inside out, is so important, because we need to work on ourselves individually. I've been posting a lot about growing in your leadership, growing yourself, because if I grow myself in my leadership, I can lead others better. And so when I can determine success for myself, that's going to come with me growing myself. It's going to come with me coming to a place of greater self awareness. When I can come to a place of greater self awareness, it helps me to have a clearer picture of what success looks like. And one of the things that helps us to get into a place of greater self awareness, of course, is coaching, like you stated earlier on, Kiruba. So these things will help us, but having an understanding of this is what success looks like for me. I can be in the same class as somebody who, for them, success looks like I am going to get a council flat and I'll be fine with that. That's success. I'm going to be on benefits. That's success. But is that success for me? No, it's not. So so we need to be clear about these things. You need to be clear about it from a personal level. That's why we encourage things like vision boards. Create a vision board. Don't go and copy someone else's vision board because that's their idea of success. Sit down and create your vision board. What is it that you're trying to work towards? When I was working in a law firm, this was a couple of years ago. I remember after being there a few months, one of the things that I was keen on is when I come to a place, I'm going to learn what I can learn. Once I have settled into my role, I'm going to look at what next. And so I got to a stage where I started looking at what next. And I discovered that there were so many courses that I could go on to do that would help me to do better and also help me to understand my role better. And I remember at one point sitting down with my manager and I said, is there funding within the organization for me to do these courses? Because I think this would really help with my role. And my manager was stunned. He looked at me and he was like, interesting. The guy you work with, who had told me what I know, right, had been doing this role for over 10 years. And he said, he's never come to me saying there's these courses that he wants to do. Why are you like you've just started less than a year and you're coming to me saying there's these courses you want to do? And he was like, this would be really good for both of you to do. Like, I'll go and pitch it to HR so you can do this. But he was happy. For him, success was, I do my thing every day, I go home, I sleep, I come back, I'm good. For me, I wanted more. I was hungry
No.
for more.
Mm.
So you need to understand what success looks like for you, because it's going to determine your next move. It's going to determine whether you settle where you are or whether you keep pushing forward. It's going to determine whether you say yes to opportunities or not. So it's important.
This conversation today has taken a different turn to the way I thought it will come through. But good, it has taken a different path altogether because we are talking about how much we're going to push ourselves to wanting what works for us.
Mm,
But our our school systems don't allow that,
mm,
which is sad because you can crush young people. I think a lot of Scandinavian countries they allow you to grow on your own pace.
mm,
And I'm sad that the UK doesn't advocate that. Even from my nation, in Malaysia, there's always this rat race that goes on. And I don't know about Uganda, but I suppose there is some element to it. But you know what? Your grades don't determine your success, actually. But knowing that you are stagnated and there's more that God wants to give you is what gives me personally hope, because you might not go through a formal education or go to university, but you can be successful. Like
Mm.
Richard Branson, I always think of him. He was never successful in school, but yet he's a multi-million millionaire, a billionaire, and he's so low profile.
Mm.
He just wants to retire to his island. He's got his island and he wants to retire. But we as people of faith, we have got more than that. We cannot retire till the Lord comes back. There is purpose. There is purpose. And good things will come out of the things that we have desired, because part of our desire God will bring through our purpose, and that is definitely a journey worth running for, a
Mm.
journey worth walking with the Lord.
When you mentioned that we this hasn't gone quite the way that you thought it would go, initially when we thought about doing this conversation. And yes, we were going to talk about success sort of not being a destination, the fact that it's a journey. And finding your definition of success is, it could be a journey, right? Because the goalposts are moving. You're realizing there is more. So you get to a stage and you realize, okay, for this season in my life, this is what success looked like. So now I'm entering a new season. What's that going to look like? So it's a journey. And I think it's one of those things that we have to be patient along the way. We have to be patient along the way. And you mentioned earlier on about failing, and that's part of being successful. It's learning to fail forward, it's learning to fail well, it's learning to fail in such a way that you can take lessons from what you were learning, and also looking back and saying, well, am I have I made progress? Maybe the progress could just be that you found one way of how not to do it, but you've made some progress. You're not where you were the day before. You've moved forward. So, and I'm coming back to the same thing about just knowing for yourself, knowing on a personal level what success looks like. Because that journey, your idea of success will determine that journey, will determine your perception of that journey. Because sometimes we see people on social media and we're like, where did they come from? Like they were just like, and this is what social media does. I can put a reel out today and it goes viral in 24 hours, and because it goes viral in 24 hours, all of a sudden like I'm out there, and this is happening, that's happening, and it's like I have hit success. It can happen quickly for some, but that is not, don't chase after success expecting things to happen in 24 hours. Understand that it's a journey. It's like raising a child. It's a journey. You don't raise a child in a day. Progress is being made every day because they're growing every day.
Yeah. uh, it's interesting because every day I put a list of things to do, and if I can complete all the 5 things that I put for the day, it is success for me, because sometimes I just am able to do just 2 things.
And that's okay.
That's okay. I mean, I'm not rushing against a deadline or something, but sometimes having deadlines are good because you don't push yourself, and putting pressure on yourself to push to do the things. It is good, but it also has its bad. But you know what? What I do, it's out of love for people, and it's out of love for for what God has called me to do. I'm happy. If I finish that 5 things I put down for the day, I am so happy. And I always, finally, I'll say, oh, I've won today. So,
That's good.
that's good. That's totally all right,
Which
Elizabeth.
which is so important for us. It's vital for us to celebrate along the way. Don't wait for the big wins. Celebrate the small wins too. You know, so I ran the Show Up and Shine social media visibility challenge. And when I started it, I really wanted to encourage women to show up every single day. That was the thing. I wanted to encourage them to show up every single day on social media. But one of the things I started to realize is that everyone is at a different level, right? Everyone is at a different pace. And I'm like, Elizabeth, give grace. When I started off showing up on social media, um, like proper intentionally, I started with let me show up 3 times a week. So I'm like, why am I pushing people who are going from zero? I'm trying to get them to 100. Like let's grow into it. And that's what success is. You grow into success. And every day you're making progress. If I show up today, I'm making progress. I'm one post ahead of where I was yesterday. But I build a habit. I get consistent when I'm making it intentional. When I'm being intentional with the things that I'm doing, I'm making the good habits, the positive habits, and I'm being consistent. And consistency over time, it adds up. It builds up. So if we're going to be successful, we have to be people who are prepared to be consistent, consistent in doing the big things and consistent in doing the small things. Because it's not just the big things that are going to bring you the results, it's also the small things. Like Kirubai, you mentioned writing a list every single day. That's part of helping you to be successful. It's
That's
being
right.
organized, it's managing your time, it's it's sitting down and saying, this is my intention for the day. I'm not just going to wing it today. I'm not just going to fly wherever the wind will take me, but this is what I'm going to work towards. This is the blueprint for my day.
I hope our audience have learned something from this. Now, this is real talk, Elizabeth.
It
Real
is.
talk. There's there's nothing that we are saying that this is tried and tested, I would say. So, ladies and gents who are watching this, you know what? It's time to reevaluate and think about what success means to you. Because many times we would have looked into someone else's success and we will want it. What is success mean to you? And Elizabeth, I love that the fact that you said, what does success mean to you and how are you going to achieve it is the biggest win for your journey. And I think it's already time, Elizabeth.
It is. It is. But I'm going to just add one more thing because it came to mind as you were speaking just now. So, for some of us who do events, right, you can do an event and you think because 100 people did not show up, it wasn't successful. But I just want to encourage somebody out there who probably has an event coming up, or maybe you have done events before and you feel a bit frustrated because you didn't get the numbers you wanted to get, you didn't achieve what you set out to achieve. Success is not determined by just the numbers showing up. But if you tried something new, have you yourself like made a step forward? Look at it from those different angles. Yes, you might not have had the people that you wanted to have, but did you have one or two people who were really greatly impacted? Focus on that. Did you learn some lessons along the way? Focus on that. Don't look at, oh no, I failed because I didn't get 100 people to my event. Don't look at it that way. Yes, you look at other people's events and that's what you might start thinking. But this is where, like, determining it for you, is key. And sometimes you might do something, you don't get as many people, but for those of us who are faith people, did you walk in obedience to God? Is there something God asked you to do? Because your part is not about the results, your part is to walk in obedience. So success is walking in obedience to God's word, is walking in obedience to the instruction that God has given you. That is success. Success is about being in alignment with God's will, God's plan, God's purpose for your life. So you might not see the results that you're expecting to see. You might not see the results that other people are seeing, whom you feel, oh, I'm in the same lane as them. But I put it to you, you're not in the same lane. You're in a different lane. You're in your lane. So just keep running your race and run it to the best way possible. Run it without excuse. Run it with diligence. Run it with patience. Run it with excellence. Go for it. Go for it. And you will start to see the results. But thank you so much for joining us this evening. Wherever you're joining from, like, share, subscribe, get this to somebody else. There is somebody in your circle that needs it, so share it. Whether you're sharing it on any social media platform, happy days, or just send it directly to somebody, happy days. Thank you for joining us. For us, success sometimes is we showed up. We showed up, because we've had different things going on today, but yet we showed up. So have some time to reflect. And if you want to have a deeper conversation, feel free to reach out to myself or to Coach Kirubai, and we would be happy to take this conversation further with you on a one on one. Or if you want us to come and do a talk to a community that you might have, whether it's a community of women online or in person, then we would love to come and do that as well. So feel free to reach out. But thank you so much for joining us this evening. And yeah, God bless you, right?
Bless you.
God bless you. And we will see you back here next week.